Okay, I'm back and ready to go. Carol Sue, first on again.
Yes,
Welcome, welcome,
how are
welcome.
you? And good morning.
Good morning, and good evening to you. So, how are you doing today?
Oh, fine. We had a rainstorm taken in last night, taken come through, but today was taken in sunny.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Okay. We are now in another 7-day lockdown from today. So
Uh,
I'll be indoors a bit. Nah, you know what? I'm actually quite happy, to be quite honest. I was supposed to have a big day at work today, and now I don't have to go. Yay.
Hey,
Oh, and even better is they're paying me. So you couldn't ask for more, could you?
no, not at all. Not at all. And
So
then,
is it
then
the
you,
COVID that's locking you down again?
It's our city that I'm living in. We've had, look, this is the way we roll over here. We've had like 30 new cases of the India strain, and it's like apparently like moving very quickly. So they just want to contain it. So, 30 is nothing for the rest of the world, but for Melbourne, It's like, whoa. Yeah. So we're allowed out.
confused.
Sorry?
Your dog is going to be confused.
We're so used to it. This is our 4th lockdown, so we're pretty good at it. We say we're great at lockdown. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame for businesses, that are relying on everything. Cafes and things, they're allowed to do takeaways, but they're not allowed to have people come in and dine anymore. But we can still go to supermarkets, and we're allowed out for 2 hours exercise a day. And what else? We're allowed out to get vaccinated. So yeah. But anyway, all right. So, but you know what? If we all kept moving all the time, we wouldn't have so many issues. I'm not saying with coronavirus. I'm saying with most issues of our body, right? I'm not saying moving is going to cure coronavirus. I'm definitely not saying that at all. But if we keep our bodies moving, we can stay healthy in all other types of ways. So welcome, Kathy. Welcome back. Welcome, Sheila. Welcome back, Jody and Lynn and Dania. I think I've got that wrong again every time I ask you how to pronounce your name, and I'm so sorry. I'll get there. Dania, that's it. Deborah.
You are correct.
Yay. I thought I'll get it eventually. Deborah, Barbara. Oops, hang on a minute. Kim's changed me. I need to go back. To see who I'm talking to. Lynn, Katie, Tonya, welcome back. You've been before. Doris as well. Alma, welcome back. All right. Welcome. Oh, Jody, look at your dog. Lovely. So nice to see pets in the pictures as well. Kim, that's fine. Not a problem. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, I will get on to sharing my screen so we can get started. So the normal housekeeping things, let me get started on there. All right. Hopefully you're all getting good at coming in through waiting rooms. I think that's what you're doing these days. But the class today is your supple spine. what we're going to be doing is trying to move our spine in all the different ways. We'll have a little bit of a play. We'll see how our spine can move. Right? In the grand scheme of things, a healthy spine can move in all different directions. It moves forward, backward, side to side, around and round and round. So we'll be experimenting with many of those different ways. You'd never get all of them, but we'll see what we can do with our spines. Now, when it comes to that, we're all very different. You might have something going on in your body that doesn't allow you to do a particular movement that I will be doing with you this morning. That's fine. You're just going to move, maybe a smaller movement, maybe give that one a miss. So do what is right for you. You are the boss of your body, and you are the one who knows best how it's feeling and how it's moving. So please honor that as we're going through the movements today. A little bit about me for those of you who don't know me. This is me, Natalie W. I am in Melbourne, Australia, as we were just talking about for those that came in a little bit earlier. We've just gone into another 7-day lockdown, so I've got more time to do things like this inside on the computer. All right. I've been teaching movement since 2001, and I'm fascinated by all different types of movement. I was very much into yoga. Yoga was the big thing in my life for such a long time. Yoga fixes anything, and then Pilates fixes everything. And then the more you learn, the more you realize you know nothing. So then you need to keep learning. Well, that's the way I've been rolling. So I just keep doing class after class to learn more. And then all of that learning is to share it with people such as yourselves, to help you get more acquainted in your body, to be more empowered, and to feel like you've got some things to work with and to move independently for the rest of your lives, right? Stay active, stay what you love to do, and also what you need to do, right? You're able to do that. That's the purpose here with these classes that I'm doing on Get Set Up. Some housekeeping tools from Get Set Up. So we do learn from each other. So ideally, we could see you and you have your cameras on, you can see each other. I can see a little bit of what I'm teaching, if that is working for you or not. If you're all just sort of looking at me and not moving at all, I'd be like, okay, I'm on the wrong track and I can change things, right? So I'm here for you. But if you don't like having a camera on, that's also perfectly fine. You can turn it off, not a problem at all. If you do like the class, you can request a recording after class. All you need to do is email help@getsetup.io and somebody will send that to you. That's if you have joined, if you have registered for the class. So the best way to participate is to join us by registering, and that way you are able to participate more fully. You could ask questions, you can unmute yourself, or you can type the question into the chat box and I will do my best to answer those questions. So anytime, feel free to interrupt me. I'm okay with that. And if I miss it, I'll find it at the end of the class and try and answer it then. Now, Get Set Up are not paid to promote any specific product, so I will not be selling anything to you while we are here. As far as props are concerned, I'm not using any props today. It's just me and the floor. A mat you might want to use, and if that's not okay for you to be lying down on the mat, we'll give some variations on a seat. So ideally, your seat would not have any arms on it, but if that's all you have, perfect. We'll work with that. Finally, in the housekeeping is please check with your doctor if you are, I'm trying to move me so you can see. All right, please check with your doctor prior to starting a new exercise program. So if you've been given advice by a medical professional that's contrary specifically to anything that I say, take their advice. I am a movement professional, so I just give movement advice and I don't have any medical training at all. So take that advice over things that I might be saying. Okay. Any questions before we begin? Or anyone want to share anything before we start moving? Okie dokie. I'm just going to put myself then back on that big screen so you can see me a little bit better. Oops, that was not me. Here we go. Let's try me. Okay, there we are. All right. Now, I'm going to start standing. And if you could stand, great. Again, if you can't stand, this can all be done. Let me move my pillows out of the camera. It can be done seated as well. We are going to try to get acquainted with some of the movements of the spine. You think about your spine, right? Starts right up underneath your head, goes right down to the bottom of your tail, right? That's all known as your spine, and it moves all the ways. So let's be standing and see how we can move the pelvis, right? First off, you might want to put a bit of a bend in your knees, right? See if you can tuck your pelvis, tuck your tail under, and then you can tuck it forward, right? Tuck under and tuck forward. Just see if that movement is available to you. If you were sitting, it would be just roll back off your sitting bones and roll forward, right? Under we go. What kind of movement happens there? Do you get a lot of movement? Do you get just a little bit of movement? Does it cause you pain in your back if you do it one way or the other? Or if you have pain, does it take pain away? Or is it just like, nah, this doesn't mean much to me? All right, so your pelvis can move forwards and backwards. It can then go from side to side, right? Maybe you can push out to one side and push the other way, or it can hike on up and then go the other way, right? Up and down. Have a little play with how it can move one way and then the other way. And then it can go in circles. So you can circle your pelvis around like you're trying to do a little bit of a hula dance. If you had a hula hoop, I think that's kind of how you move it. I don't know. I'm not very good at hula hooping. All right, around one way, and then let's take it around the other way. All right, so I have bendies that helps me move my pelvis around, right? Little bend, big bend, somewhere in between. Okay, now, can we keep our pelvis still? Move on to the rib cage. Now, your rib cage will do the same sort of movements, right? Your rib cage can lift on up, right? The bottom of my ribs lift up, the top of my ribs are tilting back, and then they can go forward, right? So the rib cage can move, right? Lift up, it's going backwards, and then it's tilting forward, right? Back and forward and back and forward. Right, see what kind of movement you can get in your body here. Right, it's the same thing if you were sitting. And then from there, can we move our rib cage from side to side? Now it's shifting one way and then it's shifting the other way. All right, one way with my ribs, the other way. Yeah, my pelvis is staying relatively still and I'm moving my rib cage from side to side. Not too bad there. Right, I'm going to try and make a circular motion here. Right, so I'm going right side, forward, back, side, forward, back. Maybe from the side, forward, back. I'm trying to keep my pelvis still. It'll probably move a little bit. That's okay. My head's coming along for the ride, right? With my ribs, I'll change direction, go the other way. I'll do one more of those. All right, that's getting my rib cage moving. And then finally, my neck. So I'll be moving my head, right? If it's not okay for you to do big circles with your neck, make a little circle in space with your nose. So I'm going to take my ear to my shoulder, draw up my chin towards my chest, go over, other ear to other shoulder, and then go back and around. Around we go. You can go as slowly as feels appropriate for you, for your neck and shoulders, or you can go faster. Right, I'm going a speed that'll give me about 3 circles and I'll change direction. Let's go the other way. Okay, one more time. What's that feel like in your body? I get like a little bit of clicking about there, right? And then lift on up. Okay, now I'm going to do some bigger movements. I'm going to do what we call a roll down. Again, I'll put a bit of a bend in my knees. I'm going to now drop my chin towards my chest again. I'm going to try and let my arms angle, and I'm going to let my head lead the way down towards the floor. Now my spine is rounding forward. Now for some of you, maybe this is as far as you can get. Some of you will keep going. Some of you will be able to come all the way down and touch the floor, right? You'll be somewhere in between. Everyone on this in this class now will probably be different. We're going to round and roll back on up to standing. Right, now we're going to do a few of these. Right, we're going to go again. Right, with repetition, let's see. Does your body, or can your body work out, right, how this movement happens or how it feels, or maybe when we do it a couple of times, you can get down further, or maybe your body's going, nope, I'm not liking that, right? Keep going. If you were sitting, same thing, right? We're just going to round on down. You can see if you can let your arms angle again and come on up. Right. Now, as you go, maybe you bend your knees more. Maybe as you come on down, you can reach on out and sort of maybe tap the floor in a different position, right? If you're not coming all the way down to the floor, that's okay. Maybe you just find a little bit of a different angle. Maybe you just come a little bit down and reach out to the side a bit and then come back up. See if you can think about coming down in this rolling down position and coming in some different way. How can I explain that better? I'm rolling and I'm going to reach across the room a little bit and I'm coming back up again and I'm going to reach another way. Right, for me, I can actually touch the floor, so I'm going to try and touch the edge of my carpet there, my rug, and come on up. I'm going to come on down and I'm going to touch out in front of me somewhere and then roll back up again. And then going the other way and roll back up. Now that's quite a lot of those to do. Again, let me just stress, if we're doing too much of any exercise for you, just stop and rest and we'll change it around. All right, so you can just join us when you're ready. So that was a little bit more rolling forward. Let's go on a sideways motion. Start with your ear to your shoulder again, and then maybe you can bend a little bit more. I'm going off to my left side. I'm just letting my arm or my hand slide down my leg a little bit, and I'm going to come on up, and then I'll go on over to my right side. Bend, a little bit of a sideways bend, and then come on back up. You can stay like that, or I'm going to my left, I'm going to reach my right arm up and then bend more, taking my arm into that movement, maybe bending my knees some more, and then coming back up again and release, and I'll switch on over, reaching up with my left arm and bend off to the right again. And then coming back up. Let's try that again. So you can do it with your arm reaching, without your arm reaching. Maybe your arm is reaching in front of your body instead. Going the other way. You can keep going like that. If you feel like going a little bit further, you could go, I'm going to the left and I'm going to just slide my right leg out to the side a little bit and do a bit more of a reach out. I'm actually twisting a bit too, and come on back. And I'll go the other way. So I'm going to slide my foot out and bend and reach. Keep going, just have a play. It could be by the side. So same here, if you're seated, over we go. You can keep going the one way if you like, right? Sometimes I like to go a number of times in the one direction before changing. And today I'm just moving from side to side. So you might have a favored way of moving, as in direction. See if you can mix and match it around a bit. All right, maybe one more time each side. And the last one. And then just pause and just take a moment, just standing upright. Now check in with yourself. How are you feeling? How are you breathing? Notice your breath. Right, is your breath calm? Have you increased your rate of breathing? Are you breathing fast? Are you breathing slowly? Is it smooth? Is it a choppy breath? Okay, I'm going to do one more of these in a standing position. This is going to be or will remain in a forward bent standing position for a little bit. I'm going to roll on down again. Now, like I said before, I can actually touch the floor. It doesn't matter if you can't touch the floor. I have my knees bent and I'm going to, we call this like picking grass. I'm going to just lift up a little bit and then come back down again. I'm going to do like a little bounce up and down, right? So it's affecting my lumbar spine, my lower spine. And this is a little bit of a movement that I learned in a fascia training or a connective tissue training. And we called it picking grass. So you're going to just sort of do a little bounce here. And as I'm doing my little bounces, I'm going to do a bit of a twist in my body. I'm turning over to one foot. And then I'm going to do this little bouncing and I'm going to go turning over towards the other foot. We don't want to do too many of these, right? But we want to get that little bit of rhythmic bounce into the lower back, right? Again, we're only doing it if it feels okay. And then pause and then roll back up to standing. Right. This is a very, very strong band of connective tissue, like across your lower back, around your lower back there. And we want to get it moving and put some elasticity into it. All right, that'll be enough for standing for now. I'm now going to make my way down onto my back on my mat. So come on down however you like. It might be nice to roll on down like we were just doing. Get your hands onto the mat, walk them out, come and kneel, and then however you can, make your way onto your back. Or if this is not appropriate, come sitting down on your seat if you're not already there. Right. And when I come all the way down, right, I'll have frequent hitching, hiking up of my leggings. I haven't found a pair that don't want to fall down on me yet. Okay, so I'll just give you a moment or two to come lying down. I'm not using a mat these days as a contrast, but a mat is a good place to be. You might want a little bit of extra padding or a little bit of extra gripping for your body. Now, once we're down here, we're going to just come back to moving our pelvis like we did when we were standing. Might be a bit more accessible here. Can you just like let yourself roll backwards? Your pubic bone is coming towards your belly button, and then you're going to roll your pubic bone away from your belly button. Right, so when my pubic bone comes towards me, my lower back is going to be pressing more down into my mat or into the floor. And then when it goes away, I get a little bit of a gap underneath my lower back. Right, now that's my body. You might have no gap at all at any time. You might have some or a big gap. But we want to see if we can get the pelvis tilting backwards and forwards, right? Just keep playing with that, right? In the seat, it's what we did before. Same thing here, rolling backwards off your sitting bones, rolling forward. Rolling backwards and rolling forward. Right, the forward tends to be the hardest movement here, tends to be, right? You might be the other way, but the backwards might be the hardest way. Okay. Once you've done that a little bit, what we're going to do is press down through our feet and our arms, tilt backwards, and then roll up off the mat. We're going to see if we can peel the spine off the mat. This is something I do a lot of in classes, right? So we come into this shoulder bridge position, trying to give you a bit of a view, and then round and roll back down again. See how your spine can articulate, lifting off the floor and rolling back down onto your floor. Right, press into your feet again, tilt your pelvis, roll on up, and roll back down. Now, I think those of you, a lot of you who are seated have done this with plenty of times before, right? But if you're new to class, it's a little bit different if you're seated. We're going kind of the other way. So you want to try and sit at the front of the seat. If you're on your back, keep going, right? But if you're seated, we're going to hold on somewhere, roll backwards off your sitting bones, and just keep rolling back as much as you can. So you're still getting that movement in your spine, and I'm going to roll on back on up to being up nice and tall, like you're sitting on a wall, right? So our aim here in this movement is that what we call articulation of your spine, rolling up and rolling down. Now, if you're seated, this next one's going to be a bit harder to do because you're not going to have the movement. So I might get you to twist your shoulders instead. I'll come up and show you that in a moment. We're going to roll on up and we're going to say lifted in this bridge position, stay there. Can you keep your hips lifted? They might be high, they might be closer to the floor. Now, can you tilt your hips? Can you let maybe your left hip drop? See how my left hip is dropping down towards the floor. My right hip is still up here in space. And I'm going to try and switch, and I'm going to rotate. So my right hip drops a little bit, and I'm going to switch. Now, my knees are not rolling to the side. The knees are staying pretty much where they are, and my left hip drops down, and it lifts back up again. And then my right hip drops down, and it lifts back up. Right, you're going to do the best you can to try and just let your pelvis move from side to side, which will take this twist in your spine. Right, and then once you let your left hip drop again, stay with it dropped and try to roll down on the left side of your body. My right hip is still lifted off the floor now, and I'm going to roll back up again on or off my left side. Then I'm going to switch. I'm going to let my right hip drop down and roll down on the right side of my body. Now, see, I'm still off the floor here on my left side. I'm going to roll back up again. Try that a couple of times right from the side, and I'm just going to see what we can do if we're seated. And we're going to just add a little bit of a turn of your body and then roll down. So you still get that rotation, and then come on back up again, and then we'll twist the other way and roll on back. And come back up again. Right, that feels kind of nice. Do a couple more of those from seated. If you're down here on your back and you've gone, oh, I've done too many, stop, rest, right? I'm going to go one more time each way, I think. Roll down on my left and come on back up and roll down on my right. Oh, and come on back up. And then just roll back down through center or flop down or whatever you need to do. And then once you're down all the way, take your feet a bit wider apart from each other and roll your knees. Go one way and then the other way. Right, now again, it's still a twist. See, maybe you notice that your pelvis moves as you move your legs. Right, so when the pelvis moves, the rest of the spine will follow. Everything's connected. Right, so this is a movement of your thigh bones in your hip sockets, but the pelvis comes along for the ride and your spine moves. Okay, I could probably do this for a long time. I'm going to do that one more time in each direction. And then from there, I'm going to slide my legs on out. Right, so see how my feet are still apart. And then I'm going to take my arms overhead. So I'm becoming a bit of a starfish shape. Or think when you're doing jumping jacks, right? And if you were standing, you're out wide. Okay, so if you're seated, right, your arms are going to have to be out. We'll just do it with an upper body movement. Now, my aim here is to keep my feet in their position. They'll turn, but I'm going to now rotate my upper body. So I'm going to lift my right arm up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to start reaching it across towards my left hand. I'm going to look at my fingers, and as I do that, my right shoulders and my ribs are going to lift up off the mat. My whole body's twisting. I'm not sure how well you can make that out from where you are. Right, and then roll back down again all the way. So my right hand comes back to the mat. Okay, I'm going to go the other side. My left hand's going to lift up. Maybe you can see it better from this side. It's going up and across. My left shoulder blade's lifting off the mat. I'm going to reach on out to touch my fingers together, twisting, twisting, twisting. And then I'm going to come back and bring my arm back down again onto the mat. All right, let me show it again. Right arm reaching up. Everything's turning. Right, with my upper body, my feet are staying in position, but they're rotating. Coming back to my starfish shape. Left arm's going up and over towards my right. And coming back down. Try a couple more of those. Right, so if it's not okay with your arms overhead, because this is the position, right, and it's just a rotation like this, it might be better for you to have your arms more like this, and you can just reach more across the body, right? Your shoulders might not like it, right? So this is what we're doing if we're seated, right? Arms here, wherever it's okay, and you're going to just reach, and rotate, and come on back and reach. If that's still not okay, it can just be a reach across the body and turn like that. So you take your arms where it works out best for you. Right? The intention is this twisting of your body, right, with your arm leading the way. All right. Once you've done a few of those, or a number of those, rest. Your arms can sort of let go. Take a moment, check in with your body again, see how it feels. Now, I'm going to do something similar. It's going to be from my back rolling over onto my side, but initiating from my lower body. So now I'm going to bend my left knee out to the side, and I'm just going to let the rest of my body follow. And I'm going to end up in kind of a fetal position on the side. And then I'm going to stretch back out again, leading with my right leg and my arm and my left. And then my other side, my right knee is going to bend out to the side. Now, experiment when no two of us would look the same doing this. So I'm ending up in a curled fetal position on my right side, and then I'm going to stretch on back out again. Right? It's weird at first. I've been playing around with this a lot lately. Right? Bend your left knee, let your right knee bend as well, and maybe turn to the side, curl, and then reach back out again. Now, Carol, Sue, and others that are in your seat, sorry, I haven't played around with this on the chair. Let's see what we can do. All right, come on over to the side and then reach on back. It's going to be a bit harder, but we'll be able to get something in there. All right, let's come and have a play. Stay on the mat if you're on the mat. If you're on your seat, maybe we just roll the knee over to the side, and maybe we just do a little bit of a bend, a twist and a forward bend at the same time, and then come on back upright. And then maybe you turn the other way and do a bend forward, but in a twist, and then come on back. Maybe you can show me something that you've figured out how to do that in a seated position. But now, right, we're turning and we're bending and coming back. This is the kind of action that we're doing now. Maybe one more each side. No, you can do it super slowly. You can do it fast. You could stay in this position. You could go, I don't like doing this at all. I'm just going to curl up here and stay there for the next 20 minutes. Right? And then we'll go the other way. And then back. End up on your back again. Right. Now, remember when we were standing and we did those roll downs? This is the action that we do on the mat, right? We do this in our core classes. It's a fundamental abdominal exercise. It's called a roll up. So I'm going to start with my arms overhead. I'm going to lift them on up, curl my head and shoulders up. And I'm going to see if I can round and roll on up and go over my legs. I'm going into a bit of a forward bend. And I'm going to roll on back. Now, you might not want to go all the way back. Maybe you go back to about here and then roll forward again. Right? Maybe you go further, or maybe you go all the way down. We're just doing a few of these. Again, this is a movement of your spine, round on up and round back down. Now, if you're seated, it was like we were doing when we were seated before. You're just upright. You're going to drop your head and roll down with your head, your arms coming down towards the floor. Now, if you feel okay about this, you're going to add a twist. You're going to turn a little bit with your body and then roll back down. Now, you might just go a little way and come back. You might be able to go all the way down and come up all the way in that twist, right? Sometimes it's easier to do the roll up and down when you're in a twist. I'm going to turn the other way. I'm going to roll down again. Right. Now, if these are too much, again, stop. I'm going to finish in a moment. I'm not going to do too many. I'm going back over to my left. I'm going to roll on down. Your arms can do whatever they want to do. Mine are kind of just reaching out a bit in front of me, rolling it up in that twist. If you're doing this with a twist, notice which side is easier for you. Right, roll back and roll back up. And one more for good measure. I'm just going to go down through the center. All right, so all the way down through center. And then we're going to end up sitting. Right, okay. Now, coming up, I'm going to sit in a cross-legged position because this is comfortable for me. Notice which way is comfortable for you to be sitting. If you're in a seat, bonus, you're already sitting. You might want to prop something up underneath you. You could have like got a towel here handy. You might want something bigger. You could sit on top of it, right, to make it easier to be sitting down on the floor. I sit on the floor all the time, so this is relatively easy for me. In fact, we don't even have a sofa here, which is why promotes us sitting on the floor all the time, right? That's why it's easy for me. That might not be so easy for you. So anything that you need underneath you to come to seated. We're now going to do some side bending again. So I'm going to bring one hand down by my side, reach my other arm on up, and then do a bend over to the side. And then I'm going to come on back up. Now I'm going to stay on the same side. I'm going to bend again, but I'm going to try to change the angle of my body. So I'm just reaching off with a bit of a turn down towards the floor to face the floor. I'm going over my leg. Right, I'm going to go again. I'm going to try and lean over my left leg as I'm reaching out across to my cupboards there. Right, and then I'm going to come on back up, and then I'll go over. I just realized that we haven't done any back bending, have we? And I'm going to sort of lean back a little bit, maybe look up to the ceiling a bit. Here I am trying to go all the ways, and we haven't done any tummy time. Anyway, that's okay. We'll get there. Do a few more, right? There's no right or wrongs here. Again, with your arm and shoulder, if it's not okay, you could reach more in front of you. Oh, they always feel so nice. Reach. Reach. I'll do one more of these in this direction. And then pause. And then I'll switch directions. Okay, you're going to do as many as you like. I'm going to have my right hand down. I'm going to lift my left arm up. You can reach across your body as well. All right, let's see. How do you feel in your shoulders? Over you go. Right, it could be the teeniest, tiniest bend. You might even touch your hand to the floor. Who knows? All right, reach. Reach. Right, maybe there's a little bit of, like I said, a bit of a back bend. I'm looking up towards the ceiling a bit. I can see the sun shining through my curtains or trying to come through. Might be a nice day today. I don't know yet. It was dark when I got up. All right, let's do 2 more bends. All right, some way in this direction. And then coming back up again and pause. Oh, I didn't switch my legs around, which I meant to. Okay, now I'm going to go stretching my legs out wide or wide-ish. You might need to put a bend in your knees, right? Again, it's something that you need to play around with. You might need to sit up a little bit higher. If you're seated on a chair, you might need to keep your knees bent. Just take your feet a bit wider. I'm going to turn my whole body over my left leg, and I'm going to have my hands on either side of my leg. So I'm going to try to sort of just lean forward, try to do more of a hinge as I go forward over my left leg. Oh, there's a nice stretch for my hamstrings. And I'm going to drop my head down, round my spine, and try and roll back up again. All right. So I'm going to try and hinge, lean forward, and then let my head go round my spine and roll back up nice and tall. Maybe if I show you from the side, it might make more sense, right? So I'm going to try and hinge forward and then round back up and hinge and round back up. Now, maybe I can go the other way. Maybe I can round forward, try to lengthen, straighten out my spine and lift back up. All right, round, reach long, and come back up again. All right, I'll do a couple more of those. All right. If we're here, your legs come wide, you might be able to straighten them. I think it's a bit nicer bent. Right, over one side, go and round, back up again. All right, so you're just twisting, you're turning your body over that one leg and playing with the different ways you can go forward and come back up again. Let's switch legs. Let's go the other way. So turn over your other leg. Your hands can be where you need them to be. That could be behind you. Sorry, I didn't say that when we're on the mat. We're going to go lean forward, round, and come on up. And again, lean forward, round, to come back up. Right, and there's no, again, no right or wrong way to do this. Right? We're finding ways, different ways to do things. Right? When we do forward bends, do we do them the same way all the time? Now, how about we change, round forward, try to reach long and lift on up. Right, now your movement can be just here somewhere. Here, I'm just trying to maybe move my spine in this position. Everything that I do here, I want it to be available or approachable in some way, right, to everyone who joins. Right? It can be, like I said earlier, the smallest movement, the biggest movement. Hopefully over time, right, your body will find a way to incorporate more different ways of moving. Now, finally, we're going to try and just do a lean through center. So turn this way. Again, you could be sitting up. Start with your hands behind you. See if you can lean forward. Now, I'm trying to come more forward with a flat to back again. I'm trying to let my whole pelvis tilt forward and do the best I can here. You can keep your hands here. You can have them out in front of you. If you're seated, same thing. And then I'm just going to let my head hang. So my head weight, or my neck, I should say, is getting a bit of a sense of stretch from the weight of my head. Just having a couple of breaths here. And then, right, there's no hurry. Then I'm going to sort of make it into a floppy bend. I'm just going to sort of round myself right now. You could be like here somewhere, right? Just sort of flop on over. I'm going to try and roll myself back on up to an upright position. Now, bend your knees. This is something we do in our hips classes too. Let your hand come behind you. Your feet are wide apart from each other. And again, remember we did this lying on our backs. You're going to roll your knees one way and then the other way, like a windscreen wiper. Right now, my knees have come all the way down to touch the floor. Yours might not. And the thing is here, is my feet are wide enough apart that there's space for my knee to touch the floor. Right, often I see this and people kind of go up and their legs are in the way. Try to leave that space in between your feet, right, to allow, if you have that range in your hips, your knees to go, right? So if you're on your chair, you're doing the same action. They just won't go as far. They won't touch the floor. Right? If you're sitting in a chair and your knees touch the floor, you need to turn your camera on and show me. All right, you can take your hands off the floor if that is appropriate. It just means your hips need to do more work. Right? So can you see my whole body is twisting, right? My spine is moving now. It's rotating again from side to side. Good. I'll do one more in each direction. Okay, now I'm going to now cross my legs again. There might be a completely different way for you to get there. We're going to roll on over onto our hands and knees. Right, that crossing of the ankles. It's kind of a basic movement to get on up, right? So that might be something that you want to have a play with if you're finding that impossible to do right now. So if you're seated, we're going to come back to just sort of holding onto your legs or holding onto your knees. We're going to do some what we call cat and cow moves here. So if it's too much on your hands, you could always come on down onto your forearms or grab hold of the towel. That can take some pressure out of your wrists. Right? But now we're going to go round up from the center of your spine and then round down. Okay. So as we round on up, this is called your cat pose. As we round down, cow. Right, find the movement. When we were lying on our backs and doing the pelvic curl, right near the start, you're lifting up from your hips first.
And then the lower back, your mid back and your upper back came up now. So we're lifting up from the middle of the back. But we're going to play with all of the ways here. Right, so just do a couple more of those. Right, so if you're seated, right, same thing, rounding through the middle, rounding the other way. Right, there is a back bend. I said we haven't really done any back bends now. Now we're adding some into it. Okay. Now, after those two, come into a flat back position, a tabletop. Now, we're going to try that action again, leading from one end of the body. So can you start by dropping your head down first, then let your upper back round up, then the mid back, and then your tail will actually tuck under, right? So now you're in cat pose again. Now to get out of that, let's lead from the head again. Lift your head up, start to let your upper back round down towards the floor, then your mid back will round down to the floor and your tail will lift on up. All right, drop your head again, round from your upper back, let the mid back follow, let your tail tuck under, and then lift your head, your upper back will round down, the mid back, and your tail will lift up. One more time this way. Right, so you're starting from your head, you're letting the rest of the spine follow. Your head comes back up again, and then it follows down into cow pose, right? So we're in cow pose. We're going to lead now from our pelvis. Curl your tail under first, then let the lower back round up, your mid back and your upper back, and then your head drops down. Your tail lifts on up, your lower back drops down, and then your head lifts up, right? Two more ways, two more times. The tail rounds under, the mid back follows, your head drops down, your tail lifts up, you sink down, and your head lifts up. Right, one more, rounding, 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 one way, and then the other way. All right, back to a table position called happy dog. You're going to look over your right shoulder and push your right hip towards your right shoulder. And then you're going to look over your left shoulder and push your left hip to your left shoulder. Right, so you're waggling your tail from side to side, and you're turning your head in the direction of that tail wag. Couple more of those. Okay, maybe sit on back in a child's pose. So we just take the weight off your hands for a moment, right? If it's not okay to sit back here, just maybe come up here and keep your hands, actually even put them together and move them around a little bit, taking pressure off your wrists. Go the other way. No, I only go one way. The other way is a challenge for me. Maybe give them a little bit of a shake. And then finally, we're going to do some back bends lying on our belly. So if you're seated, come on down onto your belly if you're on the floor. If you're sitting up, it's going to be more hands behind your head or hands here. And you're going to be doing this. You're going to be looking on up and bending up towards the ceiling and then coming back. Right, that's going to be your action if you're sitting. Right, so down onto our bellies if you're able to make it all the way down here. We'll start with our elbows out to the sides, and you want to look down to the mat so your neck is nice and long, your head's looking down. You're not letting your nose squish down on the mat. I'm just lifting my head up a bit more so you can hear me. Right, your arms are on the mat. You're going to keep your hands down and you're going to lift on up from your head and come on into a back bend. You can push into your arms. Now, I can lift relatively high. You might have a tiny little lift. Doesn't matter. And roll back down again. All the way. Do it again. We're going to lift on up. I'm going to use my arms to press down into the mat. Come on up into a back bend. And then come on back down. Now I'm going to come on up again and pause. So just come on up to where it's okay. And it might be, say, like here. It might be a bit more, might be even further. And then try and take a look over one shoulder. I'm going to try and look down towards my foot. You could just turn a little bit. Come back to center. Try to look over the other shoulder. And then come back to center. I'm going to do it again. Over the one. And then back. Over the other. Right? If this is giving you grief in your back, come on down. Do that one more time, over one and back and over the other and to center, all the way back down. It might need a little wiggle of your hips or something here, if you're feeling that in your back. I'm going to do some back bending again now, but without using my arms. So now I'm going to try and just lift my arms. They're just hovering off the floor. And then I'm going to try to once again come on back up. So now the back of my body has to work some more. And then all the way down. And I can also feel my bottom, right? My glutes come into action here. All right, let's lift on up again. And lower back down. All right, I was really holding my breath when I did that. All right, one more time. All right, lift on up. And lower back down. Now, if all that feels okay and you want just a little bit more of a challenge, we're going to lift our legs as well. So can we go? Lift on up, lift your legs up off the mat too. And lower back down. I'm going to do 2 more times. All right, lift on up again. And lower back down. Last one, up we go. Lift, 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 lift. And lower. Again, you might want a bit of a wiggle. I'm going to bring my hands back a bit so I can push down to come on back into child's pose. I'm going to sit on back here. Now that might be more up here or something for you. It might just be a forward bend if you are sitting in your chair. And then from here, I'm going to try to keep my hips anchored back and I'm going to go off into a bit of a side bend. So I'm walking both of my hands on over to the right side, right? So my bottom's still on my feet. So if you're more up here, right, if your knees don't like that movement, just walk on off to the side. You might be walking right off your mat with your hands. If you're seated, it's going to be maybe a bit more of a side bend. You can have your hand behind your head, you could reach on over or just bend to one side. Come back to center. We'll go on over to the other side. Over we go. Gonna really reach on out. Let's see what happens with your breath. Oh, my tummy's got the rumbles. Don't know if you could hear that. It sounded quite loud to me. All right, come on back to center. Up onto your hands and knees. One final little bit of a twist. I'm just going to lift one arm on up. I'm taking my right arm on up towards the ceiling. So my body's turning to the right. Now I'm going to take it and thread it underneath my left arm. So I'm now twisting my body to my left. My left elbow is going to bend a little bit. And I'm going to reach back up towards the ceiling. And then I'm going to go back underneath my left arm. Do a few more of those. If you're seated, it's now a twist, so you can just twist, just turn, and hold in one direction. Right, maybe you can twist some more as you're doing that. Right, I'm doing maybe one more here. Right, twisting on over to the left. Maybe hold a little bit longer. And then switch over sides. Take your other arm on up. So this is my left arm lifting. I'm going to now go underneath my right arm. So I'm reaching out to the right. My upper body's turning now. Well, the whole of my torso is turning. Up we go again. Right, if you're seated, twist in the other direction. Right, reach on under. 2 more. Twist. Last one now. Twist. Hold a little bit longer. And then come on out of there and then make your way into a comfortable position. All right, so I'm going to come back on in closer to my screen so I can see if anyone has any questions. Hang on, I've just got to get my mouse working again. No, it doesn't want to come to the party. All right. Okay, I'm going to put everyone on another view and then open up to any questions that you might have or any comments that you might have about what we've done. Right? Did that feel good for you? Did that not feel okay? Did you find new ways to move through your spine? Right? Was it enough? Was it too much?
anyone, you can type into the chat box as well. It's okay, you don't have to. I'm getting good at talking to myself. It's been very quiet here in these lately. Maybe with the new security you can't unmute. So, oh no, Kathy, you can unmute.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
I'm unmuted. It was good. It was good. I like the movement. I need that.
Okay, excellent, great. Okay, so thank you for that. Oh, it hurt, Rochelle, hurt your back. Do you think you were trying to do too much, Rochelle? Or Rachel, or what? How? Sorry, I'm sorry about how you pronounce his spine.
No, I wasn't doing too much, just hurt.
Yeah, it hurt. Okay, so sorry about that. So hopefully, if that was something that hurt, maybe find smaller movements, different ways of doing it, or that might not be right for you. So we might need to find something else for you to do. Yeah.
It was good stuff though. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So Doris has got lots of snap, crackle, and pop. All right. Good. Yeah, I get a bit of that as well.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's all the moves. Well, if we haven't moved in ways, right, for a long time, or maybe never, yeah, the body will react to that. It's my understanding that that is not a bad thing, right? You're not hurting yourself when you are getting that snap, crackle, and popping. All right. Yeah, we've got a few. Okay. All right. So I'm going to finish off with my housekeeping. I've got a little bit more to share on my screen with you. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for joining in class today. I really appreciate you spending the time to come and give it all a go. If you're enjoying what you're seeing here, please share your experience. So if you're on social media, you can share them by using the hashtag or the @ symbol with Get Set Up after those. Or if you've got some stories to tell, please email Liz at getsetup.io, who likes to blog about the things that we're getting up to here. All right, so there's loads and loads of fitness classes online now on Get Set Up. So hopefully there'll be one to suit your needs. All right, my next class is not now until my Monday, which is 3 days away. All right, that is Hips Don't Lie. So that'll be your Sunday evening for a lot of you. I also have a core and stretch, shoulders, and a free your feet class as well. So if you're interested in those, just look me up on the schedule. I'm not sure next week's is up yet. I think it might be. All right. So I'll be sending you some very, very quick class notes with some ideas for some more classes. Also requesting your feedback. So your feedback is set at 4 stars. If you liked it, add a star. That would be great. If not, you can take them away. But please give us some feedback on why you have chosen the number of stars that you have chosen. We'd also love it if you could recommend this class to a friend. So you can also invite your friend so they can join in class with you. And here's some examples of what comes up. When you register for a class, you're prompted with this little invite a friend button. All you need to do is click on that and a link will come to you that you can share with a friend. And you can wave at each other or talk about your experiences after, if that works best for you. All right, finally, all right, we would love more people to find out about the Get Set Up community. All right, the more we have, the more we're able to provide. So if you have any ideas for new classes, please let us know about them. Suggest a new class. If you want to be on this side of the class, if you'd like to host an interest group, let us know. Let us know your interests and what you would like to do with them, right? We can get you on the other end doing all the talking on this side. Right? We'd also love it if you could share with any organisations that you are a member of to, again, let the community know more about it. And then finally from here, you can request a recording of this session if you would like to do it again. Now, for all of that, all you need to do is email help@getsetup.io and somebody will help you out with that or any other queries or questions that you might have. Now, I will just stop that sharing. I am open to anything else anyone would like to add, say, share, comment on.
I love the hip movement class, but it's so late. I mean, it's 8 o'clock at night.
I know. We might, yeah, I think next week might be set already. I might get them to mix and match them around a little bit. I can only do classes when
No, but
free around my other ones. I'm actually going to be doing some even later for you, more Australian friendly times. And so it's probably going to end up at something like 2 a.m. your time, I think,
oh
which
boy,
wouldn't be great.
No.
You wouldn't want that at all. But like I said, we can mix and match them around because, yeah, I'm quite limited around other work that I'm doing. But, you know, I've got the class like this one is a couple of hours earlier than the hips one. So maybe
Yeah.
we'll just change the days around and that way you'll be able to access them a little bit easier. But yeah, thanks for that feedback, Kathy. That's great. All right. So I think that might be everything. So Deborah enjoyed the class. Thank you so much. And Lynn
Thank
found it
you.
really good. That's excellent. Thank you so much for that feedback too.
Thanks.
And I appreciate all of you. So thanks for joining me. And I hope to see you again soon. Have a wonderful
Right.
day.
Thank
Evening.
you.
Very good.